Happy Monday. We are back here again for another episode of the Real Podcast. It is myself, Eric Latshaw, and Nico. What's up, man? How you been doing, bro?
We're living. We're having fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a nice conversation last night. We're having fun, man. We're rocking and rolling lately, and life's been good. So I think I've been enjoying it. So how about you?
What's been good? I don't know.
You know.
Yeah.
Just another day.
Just another day.
Another day. Did you wrestle yet?
So I was the only one in my weight class, so I didn't have to.
So you won by default.
Champ is here.
Maybe they saw that you were wrestling and everybody was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I feel like that probably wasn't.
So did you have to show up? Like,
no,
you legit? Oh, I was going to say. Okay. And then they were like, hey, don't come back. You won.
Well, they said they would call you if
Okay.
somebody, like if other people registered. But no one
Gotcha.
registered, so.
Nice, man. That's one way to win.
That's one way to win. Dude.
Win by default. It doesn't. They don't ask how. They just ask.
I ran around and like poisoned everybody's shit the night before.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Like, oh, I heard about that guy might wrestle.
So all that time, yeah, but it gave you a little kickstart in getting back into eating right and going.
Then
to
I grubbed out hard, like literally weighed in and went home and ate like Tostitos and cheese, like the whole thing. That was weird.
Yeah.
Like the tub.
Yeah, I ate the whole thing. It was sick.
No Diddy on that.
Yeah. It was sweet.
Yeah, no, it's like.
And then I went out there and wrestled around with a guy in tights. It was so sweet.
Anyway, the Tostitos cheese jugs.
Yes.
Yeah, went home and like ate one of those, and it wasn't. Sadly, it was like the size of. Oh, you look at you! You're double fisting today out here.
Well, one's actually empty now.
Oh,
yeah, that's all right. It's there for show. Monster sponsor.
Just wanted to sponsor it.
Yeah. What is Celsius? Yeah, and Lamborghini.
That's wild. So, since we're talking about that, anyway, it wasn't even. The reason I noticed that, it was like, did you know Tostitos makes two sizes of cheese like tubs?
No.
Like usually it's just like
the small little guy that you get.
So they have one that's like height wise
like
the same size as like the Monster.
Yeah.
Same width of the.
Yeah, nice girth to it.
Yes, exactly. still good and girthy.
And you ate that whole thing.
What?
You ate that whole thing.
Yeah, whole thing.
With Tostitos.
And also, by the way, hint, Tostitos scoops are hands down the best.
Oh, it's the greatest thing in the world
ever invented.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody.
Why would you even get? They should stop making the other ones.
They should, and I think every single restaurant should stop
serving
them.
Yes,
because Tostitos scoops are the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, and even if you like, I feel like, how could you build a better situation?
You can't.
You could literally make
if you want a little bit, you just get a dip on the side. But if you're trying to get after it, you can get the whole scoop.
Yeah. Even on top of that, like appetizer-wise, now that I'm thinking about it, so you know how they have like Mexican salads? Like they have like Fiesta chicken salad.
Yes.
And it's in like a tortilla shell bowl.
A big
Tostito scoop.
Yeah.
So it's a monster Tostito scoop. So what I'm saying with that is like you could probably like layer those things.
Yeah.
Like you could put them in a cupcake tray.
Yeah.
Set all the Tostito scoops and then put like a little dopplet of sour cream, like some Fiesta chicken, sprinkle a little lettuce, cheese on top,
and it's like a little hors
and then a
d'oeuvre.
little toast. Yeah, then
it's like a little
one
hors
bite
d'oeuvre.
scooper.
I'm with it. Speaking of sour cream, you want to hear something hilarious? I don't know if you were there yesterday when we had Chipotle.
Oh yeah,
had that whole spread.
How did you?
I don't think you were there at that time though.
Oh,
it was when we were setting it all up.
Yeah, I was over there entertaining Kelsey.
Yeah, so we were putting all the food out, and Kate got super excited about the queso and grabbed one of Chipotle's stupid chips. Thank God it wasn't a scoop.
No scoop.
and she thought she was getting the queso, straight dipped, sour cream. Yep, loaded
Good
it on
Tostito
like it was
scoop type
loaded it, and I was like, "That's oh." She's like, "That was not queso. Yeah, that wasn't queso."
For that.
So
That's depressing.
that
is the weirdest thing when you're expecting to eat something or have something taste like it's supposed to taste, and it doesn't taste like that. It's crazy. It's oddly enough, it could be something that is phenomenal, and you don't.
Yeah, because you're not ready for it. You're like, oh, that was not what I was
expected.
It's not where I parked my car.
Yeah, no, not at all. That would be a yeah.
We got a little off topic.
Very
Tostitos,
very
Tostitos, and again, sponsor.
throw it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
So what'd you add to our yard here?
So I actually got that for Christmas from my father-in-law. It is a Lamborghini flag. In case
And we can all
the followers didn't know that I like Lamborghinis. Maybe they're new.
Is that the symbol?
That is the symbol. That's the logo, but they actually just changed it after 20 years. They just came out with a new logo.
After 20 years?
20 years.
How long has Lamborghini been around?
A long time. Really long time.
Like really
I
long
want to say
time,
like way early 1900s.
Were they always like a higher end vehicle?
No, they were a tractor company.
I watched that movie like
Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. And so Ford versus Ferrari came out, and then Lamborghini tried coming out with
that was back in the day.
Yeah, that was about the same time. So Ford, Ferrari, Lamborghini was kind of getting their start, but they didn't talk about it very much there. But they
like a bull.
Yeah,
it's not even a fast animal.
Yeah, no, but I forget, he explained why he did the bull in the movie. It wasn't a very good movie. It was a shame. Like, I was so excited. They have a Lamborghini movie. So it's like how it started. So it shows how he started it, because I think it had...
they just don't put anything on TV, so they probably don't know how to produce a movie.
Right.
You ever see that that meme that's like, you know why you don't see Lamborghini commercials?
Because the people that are buying them aren't sitting at home watching TV.
Yeah.
I love to watch TV. Actually, I like watching movies. I don't really watch TV.
Yeah, no, me either. I actually am trying to get rid of my cable, which is...
We don't even have it.
Extremely difficult.
Yeah.
It's like really hard to do.
Do you guys have glow fiber up your way now?
No.
You should. I'm surprised they don't have it, because they normally put it in like...
I'm like right near the college too. You'd think that like they would have it right there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's awesome.
Is it?
It is so awesome.
Internet fast?
So fast.
Really?
Yep. And the nice thing,
the
difference
sucks.
Yeah. Well, they all suck. They're all terrible, and it's cheap.
Do you know what I pay a month for cable? Just take a guess.
$350.
Wow, that was pretty damn good guess there. like $396.
Yeah, it's
for
insane.
Cable and internet.
So that's
bananas.
That's how we were.
I use 3 channels. Like I literally watch football on cable on Sundays, and I watch baseball games, and then every now and then I watch like the Big Ten Network.
Oh, I thought you were going to say late night, after hours.
This is 2024, sir.
Kids come down, quick turn a channel.
That was. Do you remember? I mean, you definitely, there was no streaming back in the day. But first of all, let's just talk about that before I get into the next thing. $396 for cable and internet is legitimately highway robbery.
Mm-hmm. It's insane. And this shit never works.
And
never works.
20% of the time, my internet is out.
Yep. It's insane. So
over an overall period of time. Yeah, for sure.
And that's why my uncle actually works for Glow Fiber and said something to us. He does a lot of like the business side of things. But when we were moving into our new house, he said, hey, you guys should look into Glow Fiber because they just put it in your area. So they're starting to put it in a lot of like the nicer neighborhoods, which is why I'm confused that you guys don't have it.
I mean, maybe I feel like the last time I looked, it wasn't available.
Yeah. And they may be like, I know like they just started in like Adam and Emily's. Yeah, that's true. Maybe. But I still
10 years behind Lancaster and almost everything.
So he told us about it, and he's like, you should look into this because it's not a like, I don't know how Comcast and their cables are, but like this is like an underground fiber cable, and it's crazy because not only so like we'll go to my parents or we'll go to my in-laws and get on their Wi-Fi, and it is like going backwards compared to what we have now. And and the main difference I think too, where you really see is when there's multiple people on it. So like it's, you know, at home, when you're at home and you have one person on your Wi-Fi, it's like, okay, then you have two. It's like, all right, now you have 5 devices on it. Yeah. And it's bogged
Which
down.
Which is
it's
minimal
slow.
at my house. Like if you're any, like, and I think I have the business one too.
Yeah.
Which is like supposed to
be better.
But like there's times where there's 15, 20 devices on my internet because
at that point you might as well have dial-up.
Yeah, I know. Friends are over. Their kids' friends are over, or like we have people over, and everyone for some reason wants to be on your internet, which is also weird. But, yeah, I can't believe that is allowed.
Yeah, I pay $80 a month. Never changes.
Yeah, no, that's
never. Now we only have Wi-Fi, but okay, I pay
what
extra.
Apps do you got?
So like on TV and stuff.
Yeah, like
so
what's the play if you don't have cable? Like I feel like I pay for these apps anyway.
Yeah, I have Apple TV.
Me too.
We have Netflix, Hulu.
I don't have Hulu.
We don't really have it. I think
Prime
I use
because I have Amazon because I pay for the Prime membership.
Yep. So we have Prime also.
Do you use Amazon Music?
No,
me either. But it comes with your membership at Prime. They tell me they send me an email every month. It says
I always just use Apple Music though. It's free. I think. Is it free? I don't know if it's free anymore. I don't even know what my... Free. Oh, well, I don't know.
Also...
I wish I need to go through all my subscriptions. I probably...
So that's what you... So that... shout out to that Rocket Money app.
Okay.
I just played around with it for the first time last month. I was paying for like multiple apps twice.
Yeah. I paid
Netflix twice. I had 2 Prime accounts. Same email. They weren't like, no you're good. We'll just bill you twice every month. It's like it was like $600 some over the last year and a half.
Yeah,
like 2 years or so. I forget how long it was, but it was like I think $14.29. So I definitely think that if you are one of those people that automate your bills, that's a must have.
I'll have to look at it because I'm terrible with it. Half the time I don't even look. As long as there's money in the account.
Yeah,
works.
I know. Like, and it's so it seems irrelevant because it's like $11.99, $14.99. Like,
but when you're getting billed twice from the same email,
yeah, you know what I mean. It doubles your subscription cost. But at the same time, like over a period of time, if you have like multiple things out there that you're doing that with, it's just interesting. I never really looked at it like that because it just. I needed to set it up to do the automated because there's so many little things. I'll just be like 3 days late on everything. I wait until I get an alert. Like it's never really late on my credit, but like it'll be like, hey, it's late. Yeah. And then they'll charge me $19 and be like, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's more than the subscription, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I digress here. Anyway, so what I was getting at before we went on that crazy
tangent.
Yeah, tangent. Is so you brought this flag.
Yep.
You don't know what the bull's for.
I don't remember. I know there's a significance behind it, so I know.
Like that's a very random thing. I never even knew that. Maybe because I've never like gone up and like stared at an emblem on a Lamborghini, but just
it's different, because like I think.
A fast car. Just
Ferrari has the horse, like a stallion is quick. Yeah. I forget. So I know when they started, they were a tractor company. They built tractors. So I don't remember if it has something to do with that or I'll have to look it up. And
hands down, dopest emblem.
Oh, it's so cool. But they just changed
not that one. Rolls Royce.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool, but
it's pretty cool.
It is, but it's just,
and it pops up. Doesn't lay on the car. Like
that's true.
You're never like sure. You'll never mistake, though you shouldn't. But like Lamborghini, Porsche,
Do
Like,
not.
I'm just saying the emblems.
Oh, the emblems look the same.
Emblems
Yeah.
are very similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, like, if one flies by you at 200 miles an hour,
you're not going to know.
who knows? Who knows?
Any normal
you know
human
what?
being.
You know what? 220 miles an hour, see the Rolls Royce. You'll see it.
Exactly, because
Can't
they don't
never go
go
wrong.
that fast.
False statement.
But you going to jump in a Coolant and run out there 220 miles an hour?
I can guarantee you they do go that fast, though.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
200 miles an hour?
No.
With a V12 in those.
That's a big vehicle to move.
I mean,
You might be able to. You need a long stretch, though.
what about like a Maybach? Maybach.
What do you mean?
You don't think that they, like, whatever Rolls Royce, like a Ghost,
Mm-hmm.
not a Cullinan, but like, say, a Ghost.
Yeah, I think if you do
You
like
don't
a
think they'll
Ghost.
go 200?
Yeah, I think they will.
I don't think that weighs that much less.
That's a.
They're all
You're
big
about to
body
find out
whips.
because that's going to be the next purchase. Because
They're-
I want
They're all
a
big body whips. They're expensive.
I want a Wrath coupe, but the doors in the front. That's going to be the next.
Now, that probably will for sure. Like, it's a coupe. Like, it's probably built like that.
They are big though. Have
I don't
you
know.
seen them in person?
At the same side of things, like at 200 miles an hour, just having somebody drive you and looking at the stars on your ceiling sounds pretty dope.
Until you're not in control. 200 miles an hour is really fast.
Yeah.
I don't like really fast.
For sure.
And there's guys that are doing it in Lamborghinis, like twin turbo Lamborghinis.
How is it that fast?
So fast.
Really?
They're doing quarter miles in twin turbo Lamborghinis. Quarter mile
Yeah.
in twin turbo Lamborghinis. 8 seconds.
All right.
That's really fast. Going 230 miles an hour in a quarter mile.
So is there a big difference between like 140 and 200?
Mm-hmm.
Like
140 you can control. 200 hold on tight. Like I've probably gone like, and I don't drive my cars like an asshole, but like every now and again I'll get on it and have fun. I don't. Well, just that one time on East Market Street in front of Fat Daddy's. Just that one time.
Ultra flex.
Yeah. And I've gone 140, 150, 160. Like it's fast. But like anything over that is like really fast.
It's just so weird to me because like I've driven. No, I'm like not a fast car
Bro,
driver.
you are literally a chill in the right lane, cruise control 5
Always.
miles over, and
That's
just
my jam.
go.
That's because I just be posted up, ready to go places, and I don't feel like it's worth it. But without a doubt, 2 witnesses, and also you could count the coach as a 3rd witness. Like I used to drive really fast. Like that used to be like I used to, but I would get pulled over all the time. Like all the time. Like I just drove fast everywhere. I wasn't smart about it. I wasn't like, oh, there could be a cop at this exit.
just
Now, I was
You were
just
going.
on it.
Committed.
Yeah. At 25 over is just after once you get over 25 over, it's never a good thing on your point in the situation. But I can still whip. I just would rather not whip in a go-kart. I like to feel somewhat protected. But my house in New York,
Mm-hmm.
no joke about this, 2 Spooky Nook,
That's probably normally a 35.
19 minutes. And was 4 minutes late on still.
19
Leo,
minutes.
Me and Leo, and we all woke up late. I was literally cooking at $1.35 to $1.40 in the Genesis on 30, whole way straight down, 7:45 in the morning. Just
Hoping nobody was out there. Committed
I
to
don't
it.
think they were pulling me over anyway, but it was floating at that.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it was about maxed out. I feel
Yeah.
like that car was probably had another like maybe 15 miles an hour in it at max, which is probably what, like 150,
50-ish.
But like floating.
That's normally probably a 35, 40-minute drive. You did that in about half
30,
the time.
30, about low 30s. Like if you hit Prospect Ave and go up over that was the wildest thing. Like that's when I found out
that back
Genesis
area when you
could rock.
jump off. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get off
I was
Prospect
clipping
and
like
go.
90 to 100 the whole way up Prospect and down the other side. Like that's.
Want to hear a funny story about that street? That's like a 25. Well, a little bit further down.
Yeah, it's like 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, so
by
like
a school and stuff. Yeah, it was not.
Yep. So
Saturday
if you go
morning.
down that area, because I obviously grew up there,
Yes.
and
I'm not condoning acting like an asshole in your car. You heard him say how I usually drive.
Yes.
This was a life or death
Yeah,
situation.
he's very. I mean, maybe not, but like.
I mean, who knows? He was.
It's true. That's true.
What?
That's true. But back to my story on that street. So back in high school, I had my little VW Jetta, and I was coming home from school, and I was coming down Prospect there, and I was mad because I guess my girlfriend, or I don't know, some dumb shit in high school. So again, it's like a 30 mile an hour. I was going like 87 miles an hour because I was just pissed off driving. Pulled over. Sick. I was like, oh, here we go. So the guy gets out, comes walking up, and I see in the rearview mirror, it's a friend of my dad. And he walks up, puts the window down. He sees me. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I screwed up. Like, I was just having a bad day, so I thought this is how I was going to take it out. He's like, honestly, like, you're lucky it's me and not anybody else. So I'm just going to let you go, but I'm calling your dad. And I was like, nah, nope. Just give me the ticket. I'll take the ticket. I'll pay for it, and we'll be done. Like, we'll just move on from it. He's like, nope.
He was like, no, we're going to take your license.
Yeah.
If
we do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, just give it. And he's like, no, I'll call your dad. And I was like, all right, fine. So I left. I'm like, is he really? Sure as shit. I get home, pull up. My dad is just, and you know my dad, well, now he'd probably forget by the time I'd get home, but but back then, 10, 15 years ago, there he was just sitting at the kitchen table.
Waiting.
And he's like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I was just having a bad day. He's like, well, he handled it really well. He's like, you're lucky it was him and it wasn't like just another random cop because like same thing. License gone, they're taking the car, like I'm walking home at that point. And it was a blessing, but besides then, I've been pulled over probably 3 times and I've never gotten a ticket, knock on wood.
And
all of which driving like an asshole. All of which driving like an asshole, which is crazy. So, but I don't really drive like that too much now.
That's good.
I got a kid. I need to go home to her.
Got to go home to her.
Exactly.
That's a real thing, though. People dying in car crashes is, it's probably one of the top 5 ways to die in this country.
I don't know how we got on this topic, but I saw on the way here somebody post on Facebook that they were heartbroken because their younger brother died on the way to their mom's funeral. Wild.
No, we were talking about that the other night. I went to a comedy show on.
Yeah. How was that? You
Saturday
asked me to go to
night.
that.
It was good, man. And me and my buddy Jeff, we went. He's like a huge comic guy, which is awesome because he like knows everybody. Anyway, one of his buddies, they went to Atlantic City to get married, and one of the groomsmen, his girlfriend, and the bride and groom decided to drive back from Atlantic City, like, after partying all night. Killed all 4 of them when they were, like, 21, 22 years old. That was like, oh, my goodness.
It's crazy.
It's terrible. Life is so quickly taken. I think that's just insane. So I was, like, thinking about that before I went to the comedy show. I was like, hopefully this isn't like dark comedy.
Well, I'm going to, I think in like a week or 2, I'm going to see Matt Rife, and he's got some dark comedy.
Yeah.
I'm pumped about it. I think you're going too. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Is that in Bethlehem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So anyway, that was a wild start. But what I was getting at was Lamborghini. I have no idea the cycle that we've gone in today, but this I'm with
all over the place. No relevance to anything. We're just here.
I mean, it's good stuff in there. But what I was getting at is yesterday was our 5-year for our company, and like I look at companies like this, and like, what are your thoughts on longevity and from a business perspective outside of all that? Like, what keeps them going? Like, how you said that they're changing their emblem from 20 years ago. Like, what what do you think are adaptations and evolutions of companies and growth, and that keep companies rocking and rolling?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the industry. I mean, for us, like we have to adapt every single day almost, it seems like, in a real estate or just any type of, I think, people-to-people type business.
But I feel like they're selling cars too, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the person driving a Lamborghini 20 years ago is different than the person driving a Lamborghini now.
I don't know. I
think money's changed.
I think so too.
I think the way money looks in like the way that people are with money. And I think part of it has to do with like the tech revolution and like everything that goes along with that, and the age in which people are becoming wealthy,
right?
Or rich for a short period of time if they don't continue to build and make smart decisions. But I think there's an evolution in every business. Like, and maybe 20 years ago that's only 2004, but which is crazy. So like maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I think about things like Morton's Steakhouse. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if you knew this about Morton's, but like back in the day, they would have coats like that you would have to, like they would have a coat area where if you didn't have a coat, they would give you a coat for dinner because like that was just like
part of it.
That's the way fine dining used to be. Like,
right.
Now, if you go into a Morton's after a dress code change and a lot of other stuff, and it was almost the demise of them. Honestly, like
that they were stuck in that, or that they changed?
That they stuck.
Yeah,
like this is what fine dining looks like. This is like the upper echelon of fine dining, and but now you walk into a Morton's and it's like jeans, and a white T-shirt.
Well, and I think part of that is the evolution, like you said, kind of with the times. Like for me, like, okay, yeah, I drive a Lamborghini. I have a very expensive Lamborghini. But at any point in time when I'm driving that, you'll probably catch me getting out of it. Doesn't matter where I'm going, what I'm doing, in shorts like this, joggers, like, because that's what I don't need to fine dine type thing.
And I think stylistically it looks different than what it used to.
Right.
And that's kind of what I was getting at, is like, I think as a business, and what caps a lot of individuals and a lot of companies is the inability to evolve.
Right.
And if you're successful long enough, and you don't, which I think is a great part about real estate, is that it's an ever moving market. Like there's some markets that are forever moving. I actually think cars are very similar in the sense that, like, in most cases, mine is Genesis right now, like every year they play around with the model.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's something that they can add to it and make a new model. And as you've seen over the last, 5 to 7 years, the electric side of vehicles and things like this, and
hybrid,
trying to, meet different customer needs and changes in what the world says. So, we're talking 100+ years for Lamborghini and started as a tractor company.
Yeah.
That's what you said, right?
Yep.
So I feel like he should know more about Lamborghini for how much he promotes Lamborghini, but we'll leave that aside. Like,
I know a good.
What do you think changes a company from a tractor company in whenever to one of the most high-end vehicles that you can purchase?
Right.
Who makes Bugatti? Is that just like its own thing?
So Bugatti's owned actually by like the Volkswagen Group as well. I'm pretty sure. So like, if I'm correct, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure the Volkswagen Group owns Bugatti, Lamborghini, Volkswagen, Audi. Like they have a bunch of different. Yeah.
Oh, that's
they have
wild.
a bunch of stuff underneath of their
Things
umbrella.
you didn't know. So Volkswagen Group owns Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm. So like if you tore my car apart, actually you can even see if I just open my engine compartment, like
Very.
not that it's similar. Like there's Audi logos on things.
That's crazy.
Yeah, or VW logos on things, just because they kind of some stuff can interchange. Now, mine now the Aventador not as much because that's kind of been like Lamborghini's like their baby. Yeah, that's been their baby that although they've changed. But like the Huracan is the same
I can
platform.
almost guarantee you without a shadow of a doubt if you go and find a Bugatti, there's not a VW.
Exactly.
I mean, but
exactly.
you're talking what, $1 million easy?
No, $2
million, just a step in one.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. They're or not brakes. No, yeah, I think it's brakes. It's like they're like 2-year maintenance or something is like $100,000. So like every 2 years you're dropping $100,000.
And so it's just nuts. But anyway, hire from tractor company to higher end vehicle, one of the highest end vehicles you can buy. And then think of other companies, just so many different companies have made it through and then some don't evolve.
Right.
They don't change and don't make, so like I was saying, Morton's, like that was one of they didn't want to change.
Yeah.
And it almost cost them completely.
Business. Yeah. And a lot of places are like that too. I mean, Lamborghini, Ferrari, like all of these places, Ford, like those are things that like when Ford started, they were, and this is just from the movie, like they were just your normal average, the Mustang and this and that. And they had to evolve. They had to
started,
adapt.
they were like,
yeah, I mean, they were
like the first car, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I think it was Ford Model T or whatever.
Yeah.
And when they did that, they needed to evolve. And that was why Ford versus Ferrari kind of came out, was because that was, like I said, they always had their Mustang as like their sports car, but like they never really had anything to promote to those guys that really were into that upper echelon side of things.
Yeah.
So that's why they, did the Le Mans 24 and they built the Ford GT and they did that. Now, yes, besides the Ford GT, Ford doesn't really have a whole lot of like big upper, like they have the Mustang. That's their, that's their thing. But they had to adapt. And because of that, like a lot of like that and, other companies, like a lot of these go to a point where they almost do go bankrupt, or they do, or they actually do go bankrupt because they haven't evolved. They haven't adapted. It's the same thing with Lamborghini. Like they were to a certain point and they had their, like from the movie and from what I understand, they had the tractors and they had to adapt because he wanted to build the cars because the tractors weren't happening. Then he built the car and it was the same thing and the same thing. And I think Lamborghini now still kind of has that problem because it takes that, like their car or their series of vehicles they're not constantly changing. So like if you took my Aventador, which is a 2015, and you put it next to a 2023, the average person's not going to know the difference because there's not a whole lot that's changed.
Sure.
They've kept the same design and made some small tweaks here and there.
The mechanicals and upgrades within the technology probably, but
very minimal. Very, very minimal. Like same clutch, same transmission. Like
the computer.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's, for me, I feel like that's where huge leaps and bounds between, any thing that has to do with technology from 2015 to 2000, now we're going into 2025 when we're starting to talk about cars. There's a huge technology, computer interface. But I can believe that a lot of the mechanical stuff, I mean, you're still going to get the best clutch that they make, which is probably really similar to the one they made 10 years ago.
Exactly. Very similar. But yeah, I mean, they all have to adapt. And I think there's too much adaptation too sometimes. Like these car companies that every year they're coming out with a new design, and I think a lot of kind of like Hyundai, so perfect example is the Santa Fe. Like they've had like 3 different styles in the past 3 years. And it's like, you get one and then it's like, oh wow, that one's cool. But then that one's cool. So I guess it makes sense, but like, is there a certain point where it's like too much? Because
I would think so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's part of growth. Like the evolution of a business is so crazy because I think that there is a duty and obligation, a true, if you want to get to the next level, and every level, in my opinion, and we've talked about this before, has a plateau. And I think you get to that, and then if you don't make changes or start to evolve or make decisions of how to get to that next level, that consistency will plateau for a certain amount of time, and then you will start to fall off because because you're the only one that's still around that's not evolving and growing. But I think there's a pace to that. Like I think that there is an incredible lesson in understanding the pace of growth.
Right.
And I think it's easily the strength of a company and business that can grow. Like in a timely, semi-aggressive manner. And then I think there's the capability of making a decision and expecting immediate growth with a plan, but not on the right timeline.
Right.
And there's people that go big or go home. And at the end of the day, a lot of them go home.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of companies that are like, hey, I want to keep this small, and the risk to reward factor is the difference between them having a business that's an ATM machine or a business where they are consistently stuck just on a plateau.
Right. Now, do you feel, and this is I think just in general too, I know we have a lot of business friends, and I've talked to a couple of them too, just about, growth. And, one we had, obviously, Adam, we've talked about it a lot. I know he's doing a lot of different things with his business to try and help himself grow, but taking different, avenues to do it. So, you have that plateau of a certain point to get to that next point. Do you feel as a business owner there's businesses or there's times that you can, I wouldn't say scale back, because I wouldn't say,
I think you have to.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's almost like, hey, we're stuck at this plateau. We have a certain amount of people. Like I know a lot of, and this is coming from a lot of the conversation that I've had with Adam, with him. Yeah. in a sense of like, you know, I know for him, he was big on, like, that's all he did was the screen printing. Well, he does a lot of that DTG now. And that is where he sees, so he's scaling a lot of the other stuff back to kind of outsource it, I believe, to focus on the things that he's.
So I think a lot of times in business, we, from what you're saying right there, and just hearing you, and I don't want to lose my thought.
Yeah.
We are so focused on the what and the how. We forget how important the who is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can configure an incredible business in the sense of what are we doing and how are we doing it for growth and evolution.
Right.
But if you have the what and the how done, but you got the wrong people in those positions, it doesn't matter how good that plan is.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter how you're getting it done, what you're trying to do, any of those things. And I think that's part of the grow to learn type setup, which is, hey, I think, and based on past experience, would say this plan of where we're heading, what we're doing, and how we're going to do it will be successful.
Right.
And then you don't see the success. Like, and there's different things in different businesses, you know, in real estate, there's market trends, and everybody has years that are going to, but I will always be a huge believer that whenever people start to point fingers at each other, within an organization, within a business, at that moment, the what, the how, and the where we're going are
off the table.
Become irrelevant.
Yeah.
Because the who in those positions make you look at a bigger scheme of things and look at the big picture instead of some of those details and say, no matter how many times we do this, this person is going to point a finger at that person, and we're going to keep doing this over and over again.
Right.
So, yeah, I think sometimes you build with the idea of evolving into something bigger. And I think it's one of the craziest things because it's rarely occurs, sometimes occurs, but the mindset of the individuals, and I've said this at different conversations, different speeches about my business, about other businesses, but it is very, very rare that the person you make your first million with is usually not the person you make 5 million with.
Yeah.
And the person you make 5 million with is usually not the person you'll make 50 million with. And the reason that is the mindset is different.
Right.
And if somebody is along for that and the growth within a business and the evolution of the business, they have to have a mindset of understanding what the difference between a team that makes $1 million, a team that makes 5-10 million, and we're talking like just not dollars and cents coming, but like into the company and what that company can scale to be,
right?
And what a company that makes 100 million looks like. Yeah. And a lot of times the thought process, understand, like your first million is made without processes and systems. Like you can, I know plenty of people that can run through a wall in this industry, have an incredible hard work ethic, could have one or two other people with them, and
make $1 million,
gross $1 million. Like that's like have $1 million business.
Yeah.
That looks different than what it looks like to make 5 or 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to start adding people. You got to grow. You got to evolve. You got to process and systems.
Do you feel the people, and I have my thought on this, so you're welcome to then kick it back if you want. Do you feel that the people you make $5 million with, if you have a setup correctly and you have the who, the what, the where, the how, everything, do you feel that same, if possible, do you feel that same group can get to, if everybody has the same mindset or a certain amount?
Conceptually, if you've built that $5 million business on the idea and basics of $100 million business, but what happens is people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you could have an absolute incredible individual that runs operations, just high-end operations person, and then go on a mission to grow and open and do more and more, and next thing you know, you have 4 different areas in which you're operating at.
Right.
You know, I'm just using our business and the processes and systems can pretty much, in my opinion, they could transfer to where those people are.
Right.
We could bring everything else in-house. Those people can go acquire homes. You can pretty much run it wherever. The struggle is if you start to, you know, like franchise or what, there's so many different things you can do. What was the understanding of an individual in that position? There might be something else.
Right.
Like, they're here, and at that time, that's what the person that you needed. And there's like what this person costs.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you have $100 million business, and that guy looks different. Like,
right.
Understanding the value
or you
of
have to have
turning something into a franchise company it can, sometimes that's a different person.
Right.
And just
or multiple people.
Yes. And the capability.
Right.
And what also happens with that is it doesn't mean that person wouldn't still be needed. But what happens is you hire somebody that sits above them.
Right.
And that what that causes is internal tension.
Right.
And when you cause internal tension in a business due to a power struggle, if it's not addressed on the front end, and there's not an understanding of the people that are within that, hey, like, no decision is made to, people take business decisions personal.
Right.
And it's very common, especially in a small business. But, if you're like, hey, I believe, if I was to hire somebody and I was like, hey, I believe this person is going to help the business flourish. Like, we have the capability of going from here to here, and I believe this is the missing piece to the puzzle.
Right.
Those decisions are usually high-level employees with expertise in something that is whatever.
Anything.
Anything.
Absolutely.
I can guarantee you from go look at Google or Apple, they have random high-level people that are just added because that department grows or whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if the people that work for you, which is usually the case in a small business, are offended by those decisions because they take it personal, it usually is why because that person then is toxic.
Right.
You know what I mean? That person could have been an influential part of your staff and your employment and your business. But for you to get to that next level, those individuals have to be on board.
Right.
And sometimes that involves as an owner of a company, I could hire a CEO.
Right.
You know what I mean? And say, okay, my goal is I really want to go work on sales and acquisitions and training and things like that. So like, I'm going to bring a CEO in here. I'm going to give him, my salary. I'm going to keep my ownership shares. I'm going to be checking in on a, however many basis and literally set it up like a huge corporation.
Right.
In that setup, I don't know if Kelsey would stay. You know what I mean? Like, just like different things like that. The access to me and being able to communicate and has always been the case. So like you have to have people that understand what that vision and looks like. And before you make those decisions in a small business, you either have to get buy-in or you have to make a decision that at the end of the day, the buy-in isn't as necessary as the person is.
Right.
And that's the evolution of businesses in my like, yes, I believe that group of people with an addition to that group of people can be the same individuals. I think you lose some along the way.
Yeah.
No matter what, just because life looks different. Like there's no, I mean, this is different. A company of 5 people, a company of 20 people, and a company of 150 people look, way different.
Yeah.
If you have 52 employees, your company is way different than a 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 12-person business. It's just different.
Yeah.
And some people aren't there for that. Like that's not, they like that, hey,
Go
everybody,
in,
let's
the
all
work,
do this together, hang out. And
then,
But at the end of the day, those businesses are great.
Mm-hmm.
The resale value of them is shit. Because usually the people that are in the business make the business and not the
business.
Yeah. The exit strategies are
right.
Yeah.
Because you can sell off a business with people that have gotten to where you're at, but at the end of the day, a perfect example is the CEO side of things. Okay, well, we do, example, your business. We do what we do because we love what we do and we love who we're doing it with.
Yeah.
You sell the business.
Who knows?
They have no business for them probably at that point because everybody's like, well, this isn't what it was. So now there's, So no, that makes
and
total
that's usually
sense.
The evolution of a business. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the biggest struggle is that as you hit plateaus, there's pain and growth.
Mm-hmm.
And at a higher level, like if Coca-Cola grew 5% this year, like as an overall business, I don't even know what that looks like in a company that big, but like if they grew 5%, no,
right,
like no one within the business and the employee side of things would know. There would just be more numbers, more applications, probably a new manager of a plant or something, and like different things. But like the business itself would not be affected.
Right.
Like it is what it is. If our business grew 10% and I added people, places, like different, whatever, everyone will notice because everybody's involved in seeing what that looks like. And if someone's leaving, if someone's coming, if we're hiring, if we're making a decision, like everybody feels that like their opinion matters, right? Which we take into consideration. And we don't, because it's such close quarters and such high level, like constant communication amongst our peers and colleagues and employees and leadership, like, we do think about those things because, if you lost 30 factory workers tomorrow at Coke, like it'd be irrelevant.
Yeah.
Who
cares?
Yeah. If we lost 4 people in our business tomorrow, it would be
a problem.
Yeah. Be a real headache. Yeah. A real headache. Yeah.
I mean, we had a couple years ago, we lost one and it was like, whoa. Yeah.
And I think we've gotten a lot better since then. I think that like there's the capability of understanding growth. We have more people to fill different roles, and I don't think it would be as crippling, but I think there's people that within a business like would be extremely painful and need immediate, like, full focused attention.
Right.
And time, and like, hey, this is what we're got to do. Now we're going to focus on this thing, and nothing else matters. Like,
Right.
And what happens in those situations is you take you put on your blinders and you focus so much on the adaptation and evolution to fix what just occurred that sometimes, like, you miss the forest fires that are starting beside you, and like at the end of it, you're just like, it's a scramble, it's chaos, you know. At Coca-Cola, you never have that,
right?
Like, and that's the problem, is that, like, the person that works there knows that.
Yep.
Comfortable with it.
They go in,
they go
clock
out.
in.
It is what it is, and that's it.
Yep.
You know, and I think mega teams in real estate and different things, none of them have the same. You know, it's hard to compare a real estate business to a Coca-Cola or something. It's just a different ballgame. But there is a real thing within, you know, the real estate investment world of branching out, building, you know, multiple little, not little, but like 10 to 20, little business, 10 to 20 person businesses outside of a main tree that has roots. And, you know, you could go from real estate investment to title to, like, literally run it out to
the whole thing.
Settlement company. Like, it's just, you could
start
do
to
it
finish.
all if you really wanted to play the game. You could go from construction to, like, it is from rental property. There's a never-ending play, and you could build little businesses inside of what you're doing to capitalize on all of that. But by the end of that situation, there is a personnel change.
Mm-hmm.
And if the mindset isn't built early, there is pushback, pain. Like, a lot of that comes from, in my opinion, like, I'm like the I'm him virus.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, and it just happens, like, in our business. Like, if you kick ass for a week and a half, 2 weeks, like, you're like, and if somebody comes in and shakes things up and you're like, nah, I'm King Day.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and what happens is, like, there's an underlying tension in most people because at the end of the day, it's where they're at. Like, it's just, you get crap.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? You get just a intense breakdown of communication and a painful growth experience, you know, and it's one of those but I think that's the difference between good and great in our business. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's part of building a business where you can have that player and they realize that they're the player, but you also have to do things that protect you.
Yep.
You know, in my last, you know, before I opened on Some Solutions, my exodus was a shit show.
Yeah.
Because there was no other backup plan. And though you can adapt and figure it out, like, without a doubt, and it was, and on top of that, I did train my replacement, like, beforehand, who's now a hammer. But, like, in that setup, he's still the A player.
Right.
But now they had one. Now they got, like, 5.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, 7 total.
But, like, one of them, maybe 2 of them make really solid, really good money, and then like you have people that are learning and they make good money, but like they don't want to give the commitment
Right.
in that position to which is okay.
Right.
What you need
Like
is
going
to
on
not,
Easter Sunday to buy it.
like that, you know, and that's okay. Like that's fine for a business. Like, and that's where I think we both grew in the time frame of it, is that like I think in weakness you see what holes are exposed.
Right.
And that's what, if you learn to fill those and plug those holes in a boat and how to do them and the correct way to do them, it doesn't mean that it's always like easy. Right. Plugging holes in a boat while you're on water is not a simple thing. But understanding the value of it and what happens to the business is long term.
Right.
I mean, and that's the evolution of the company, business in general. And then with that just comes higher levels of accountability, expectations, and people. Your overhead goes up, but your production has to as well. And if it doesn't, then there's an issue on leadership and KPIs and getting those people in. And like it becomes less personal.
Right.
Like, and that's the problem, is that like somebody who the I'm him virus is great when you're winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's shit, which it was for me too, if you have shit 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like selling cars, whatever it may be. Like if you're that guy where you're just like an animal, it's 10 times worse to be Trey Turner in a slump than it is to be like some dude. You know, that's just like getting $750K a year to play MLB baseball.
Right.
Like, yeah, no, we expected you to be in a slump. Like, if Rojas is in a slump, you're like, oh, what up?
Important.
Oh, there's Dane.
Nope.
If Rojas is in a slump, we're like, okay.
Yeah.
If Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, like Bryce Harper's not hitting well right now, like are in a slump, like it's just more detrimental.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, you're like, that's not how that's supposed to work. We paid them all this money to
not do that. Yeah. To not be in those.
Yeah. So that is where I think the evolution of a business gets, is like those guys.
Damn.
Yeah. He's I'm not sure what's going on right now. Lots of phone calls today, but that's the evolution of business involves with star players understanding their roles. And if they like, and just everybody within the business, if they are okay with adding to the process, like Bryce Harper being there and bringing Trey Turner.
Yeah.
And if they like, go get Mike Trout, or things like that, like you can add to the process to go for championships. And through that, the fans that loved Bryce Harper that are now huge Trey Turner fans and buy his jersey, Bryce Harper can't be hurt by.
Right.
Like that's like they still like Bryce Harper.
Right.
But for some reason, like
the new kid on the block.
Yeah, they play shortstop. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they play shortstop and third base their whole life, and that's where they want to be at. Like you go get Mike Trout and like you're somebody that is just a home run, just bomber. Like they might like Trout more. Like a catcher might like when you bring people together to make a championship team, the value of the I'm him has to be like it's for the team.
Right.
And there's like Ohanti taking his money, Shohei, whatever his name is, taking his money later to be able to bring other people onto the Dodgers, and like the way, like that is not only a incredibly way to handle taxes, but
also very true, and retirement.
Yes, on the other side of that is an incredible way to build a team.
Right.
And once you understand that, like, you are a star and you don't need the personal self pat on the back, it gives the ability to get to that next level. Most people can't get there.
Right.
Like it's just, or it's not handled correctly.
Right.
You know what I mean? With like opportunities and the setup of a team and understanding like, hey, it doesn't change anything, but this is where we need to get to. This is what we need to get there. Like this person has the skills to be able to get us to this place. Doesn't change your ability to, I think people feel like they lose their like spot. Like, oh, this is everything this is what I do. No, like you're part of this big thing and we want to make it bigger, which in the end adds
Hopefully
to everybody.
Up, yeah.
And you're looking at such a tiny picture of what this end result looks like. And that's pennies at the end of the day.
Right.
So yeah, man, evolution of business is crazy. It's a wild setup. And that's why when I saw that, I was like, man, that looks like
yeah, and it's actually perfect because they literally just did a small evolution, which is not a huge change. I like that one better. I would say it's more like digitized, maybe is a good way to put it.
But 100 years in business, like what does that look like? If you went and found like a business, just any business, and you went back 50, 70, 100 years that have been around for that long, and like really broke down the evolution of that business, I think it would be incredible to see like what it looked like, then what it looked like, and then what it looked like, and
now what it looks like. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a grind, and you got to like the beginning until you build something that has the capability of working and continuing to work, and that you have eyes on changes and the evolution of what's going to happen within markets and people and industry and marketing, and go from there. So yeah, it
was a good one.
Yeah, man.
We got a little off topic in the beginning, a little crazy, but I think it all came. Yeah, it all came back around, and
I mean, it is. It's life. I think there's evolution and growth in everything that we do, and the ability to get to a place in your life where you understand that every part of you needs growth, and you need to evolve as a person, and you need to evolve as a business, and one of the struggles of business owners and anybody, employee, colleague, business owner, is the ability to evolve.
Relationships.
Yeah, anything.
Life,
like
literally.
You need to grow to get, like if in your position or, Kelsey's position or whatever, like people are like, I don't like change. Well, the evolution of the business looks like this. Like you need to like be a part of that evolution and allow yourself to grow personally within the evolution of that business, relationship, whatever it may be in your life. But if you're not willing to mentally, personally, emotionally grow within whatever that situation may be, personal relationship, business, anything, like you're going to plateau. And your skills and capabilities will be surpassed by those that are able to step into that growth mindset. This is where we're going in relationships, business, anything. You know what I mean? Like that's even marriages. You know what I mean? Like people fail in marriages because one person is growing and the other person is like, I want my wife when she was 20. And they're 40 with 3 kids. Like that's a totally different like person, individual. Oh, yeah. Like they might still have some of the things that you love about them, but like that it took them 20 years to be that person. At 20 when you met them, like they're gonna another 20 years and different life experiences. Like that they're not the same person, but you have to evolve and love and care and mentally and physically, emotionally. Learn to grow, communicate about the growth, about the changes, about the struggles. Because like, if you just wake up 10 years later and this person's different and you didn't have, like, you're just like, I don't know how I got here. What happened? Like you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, and you missed a whole part of the growth as the communication and the establishing that understanding that through time, things change, people change, perspective change, experiences change. And I see the world differently.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that we kind of talk about that today. When I got up, I was in the shower and I was just sitting there thinking, because my daughter's going to be 1 at the end of this month. Yeah. And I was like, thinking to myself, I'm like, we shouldn't have first birthday parties for the kids because they don't know what's going on. They don't understand what we're celebrating. The first birthday party should be for the parents to realize that they've evolved over the last year and haven't killed each other, and all the changes and everything that's gone through and sacrifices and this and that. Like the fact that, like, all right, cool. Yeah. The kid, my daughter's 1 year old. It's wild. But like a year ago.
Oh yeah. Mindset
to now.
Different.
Totally different, and just in general.
That's at home. Like, that's what I'm saying. So, like, that 20 years later, like, there's so many different stresses, things that I haven't dealt with yet. But, like, I look back at me as a kid, decisions and all types of different stuff. But kids' goals, dreams, things like you're parenting right now, like a I need you child, which is, like, great. And distress more is on you guys.
Right.
Once you, like, start to see your kids stress and, like, deal with, like, it's, like, wild because they're, like, their own people.
Yeah.
But everything is growth and understanding. Like, sometimes I'm like, shit, man, I really sucked as a dad right there. Like, that was an asshole, like, thing to do. Like, but at the same time, there's people that are like, man, that was an asshole thing to do. And I'm like, nah, like,
that needed to be done.
That's how you should. Like, these kids are going to have to deal with life.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to say good job and give them a trophy for
participating.
No work ethic, and in no preparation for the time that we go get it. So, like, it's an incredible amount of different things that you go through. And I think in everything that we do, evolution and growth is huge. And I think that's what changes and where we get to as people. But we are freaking running out of time. We rock and roll today, spent a little bit of time just BSing, but it's always good to get back in and shout out back. So
absolutely. Always a fun time.
Yes, sir.
A lot of good dialogue, a lot of good discussions, and
always a blast.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, we thank you for tuning in. Check us out every Monday, The Real Podcast with Eric Lacho and Nico DeJorno. We will talk to you soon.